Okay guys, so we are going to do a little spinning lab. We're going to learn how fiber is spun into yarn firsthand by trying it ourselves. So I've got a couple of things laid out here. I've got two examples of yarn. So the big difference between fiber, like this is a cotton ball pulled out of the top of some Tylenol, right? These are some fibers, right? So individual fibers are these little guys, these little baby strands, okay? So they're just not holding hands. They're kind of just laid together right now. You can pull them apart really easily, right? These are individual little fibers. Yarn is strong. Yarn you can't pull apart. Yarn has been twisted together, right? Twisted, 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 so that now it becomes a strong yarn that you could make into fabric, right? It'd be difficult to make this into fabric because you can kind of just pull it apart. But once you've twisted and twisted and twisted and pulled and stretched and spun this out, spin, 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 spin and pull, you've got yarn that's much stronger. Now I can unravel this and I could see how many ply it is, how many individual yarns are making my total yarn. It looks like I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 yarns that are all twisted that are making this ultimate yarn. So that's why it's extra, extra strong. Say I take one of these plies and I start to untwist it, right? I'm twisting it in the opposite direction and I'm pulling apart. And look, now I've got those individual fibers again. Look, that I can pull right out, just like I'm doing here with the individual fibers. Okay, so when I'm untwisting it, that's when I weaken it, and that's when I get it down to its bare state of the fibers. Okay, so what we want is to take this and turn it into this. Machines do this obviously, but you can also do it by hand. It's how they did it back in the day. This is some synthetic yarn. I think it's acrylic, so it's meant to emulate wool. So it's really fuzzy and soft. This is some Icelandic yarn. I assume, let me see if there's any English on here. I assume this is actually wool, but I don't actually see it written in English. But so this guy is very thin, right? Especially compared to this one, a very thin yarn. And this looks to be just one ply. As I'm untwisting, I'm really not seeing that it's any twisted together. So as I start to untwist, I can take this apart. Oh, it's so tightly twisted though, this little thin baby, that it's hard, but I can start to get some individual fibers. There we go, that I can pull apart, right? Oh, and there we go. I've got some individual fibers. Okay, so this is just one tiny ply of yarn. So these are some examples of yarns. When you see it like this, it's on a skein, is what this is called. It's just a way they've twisted it all up so you can like hold it and pass it off, you know, to someone and use it. And what happens is you like unravel and it just pulls really nicely, endlessly. This would be all one, right? This would be a really long, I mean, gosh, this would probably be like miles. I don't know. It'd be long. And this as well, you'd pull it up and it says this has a package, so it says, oh, 273 yards. So really, really long. You could just endlessly pull this with the way it's twisted. So what I want us to do is to come up with a way to make some yarn ourselves, to spin it. So this is wool roving in this really dark red. It's called roving. They have just shorn this from the sheep. They've combed it, they've washed it, they've dyed it, and now they've just kind of laid the fibers together. See how I can just pull this apart really easily? This is not a fabric. It might look like a fabric. You might be able to kind of drape it like a fabric, but technically this is not really together at all. I can just really easily pull this apart, okay? So what you can do with this wool roving is pull and twist and pull and twist, and then I can start to make yarn, right? Super simple. I mean, this is basically, it's like twisting hair. It's like making a dreadlock. It's exactly the same thing. And what you want to do is just pull and twist with this even tension, so that, imagine I'm trying to get that really even, perfect width of yarn like I've got here. You know, it's so even. You don't see any slubs, you don't see any chunky bits. So we can try with some wool roving to pull and twist and spin some yarn, but you probably have to buy this from the store. You probably don't have a bit of wool, like a hunk of wool lying around. You may have, though, a hunk of something that looks like this, but it's like all balled up, and it came out of like a stuffed animal. You may have some fluff, basically some fiber fill that came out of a stuffed animal or came out of a dog toy or something like that, and maybe you can take that and spin it into a yarn, because it'll be really similar to this. It'll just be loose fibers kind of all, you know, in a pile. So you can try that, or you can purchase some wool roving if you want. They sell it at Michael's and at craft stores. It's not very expensive. And or you can do what I did and get some cotton balls out of the top of a medicine container, or maybe you even have a cotton ball, you know, laying around that you use to like take makeup off with or something like that. So we can also do cotton. I do think it's a little bit easier with the wool, but cotton we can do as well. And you can see it just comes apart. It's kind of just in a ball, but it comes apart. And what we would do is the same thing. We would just pull and twist and pull and twist. And with the cotton, it definitely starts to come apart easily. So we're just going to be having to twist, 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 twist. And what I have done to do this is to wrap it around a pencil. That way I can hold it on to something as I'm twisting and kind of give it something to wrap up on. So I can show you with this wool roving, and then I'll show you with the cotton ball. So you're going to want to kind of just pull some to start, and you can imagine, sorry, my cat's trying to, look, my cat is really interested in what I'm doing with this balls of yarn. Stereotypical cat move. So I can get a little bit, and you can start to try to think about how thin you want this, right? So see, I'm just twisting in my hands. Twist, 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 until I kind of get it started. Stop it, kitty. My cat's name is Lego, by the way. I'm not going to stop the video, but I might have to if he doesn't stop. Okay, Lego, go away. Okay, so once I get a little bit started, I can hold it on the pencil like this. And now I can be spinning with this hand, and I've got like some tension, right? So I can spin, spin, spin. And then remember from the text, they talked about the different types of twist. So basically it's just which direction you're twisting in. The S twist or the Z twist. You know, so in this case, look, I'm twisting like towards myself. You could also twist in the opposite direction. So do right now just whatever feels good to you. And as I get a little bit kind of twisted, as I get my dreadlock going, I can wrap it, okay? And the goal is not to tear it away from what you've got going on here. Is so to twist, 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 and keep it nice and strong and not too thin. There we go. Twist, twist, twist. And see, I can feel like parts of it are getting thin. Just twist that tighter. Tighter, tighter, tighter. And try to get an even amount. See, I've already got a little bit of yarn. And it's just that easy. It really is. If we were doing this by hand, you know, back in the day, we would use a spinning wheel. And the idea of a spinning wheel is that you have some tension, right? This would be stuck on one end, and then you'd be kind of pedaling the wheel like a bicycle. It has pedals down at the bottom, so that you would have a steady flow of the yarn coming and a steady, even tension with the wheel. And people would do this by hand. And imagine if you wanted any fabric. And not only did you have to actually make the fabric, but before you could even make the fabric, you had to make the yarn itself. Definitely gives you a new respect for olden days. And see how now I'm getting super, super thin. I could probably pull some extra kind of back in, but I'm just going to keep going with it. I can just pull this up as I twist, and you just kind of get in the habit of it. Twisting, twisting, twisting. Like I said, it's like doing twists, cute little hair twists, and it literally is hair twists since this is wool. You're just doing hair twists on your friend Baba Black Sheep. Except this is Baba Red Sheep. Okay, and so the goal would be to get whatever you've got, like in this case, you know, like I might twist all of my roving here that I have until I'm done. But usually when I do this in a live class session, I give each person an amount of roving, and I like to see how long they can get their piece of yarn, right? And the goal is to get the longest piece of yarn, and then like that person gets, you know, extra points or something like that. So after you spin the yarn, I would have you measure the yarn. So what I want you to do in the lab, and I'll write it down and it'll be posted, but that's what I want you to do. I want you to try to get a really good long piece of yarn, and I want you to measure it and tell me how long it is. And I also want you to tell me what type of twist it is, if it has an S twist or a Z twist. And you can look in your textbook to figure that info out. So see, look, I've got this much yarn. So I'm gonna try to take it off and see if it looks good. Okay, I've got a good long piece of yarn. Let's see if I let that just kind of unravel a little bit. I could definitely go tighter, but I've got still a slubby meaning like there's sort of thin bits and then there's really fat bits. It's uneven, it's got like slubs. I've got a really long piece, and I could use my measuring table right here, oops, and figure it out. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I probably got 17 to 18 inches of my yarn, so I could document that. And so here's my yarn, and here's what it looks like, and I could unravel it to see what type of twist I had. So again, my twist, if you kind of think about it, it's going in this direction. So here's my line. Do you see that diagonal going like this? So this is an S twist. You can imagine you could write an S in there. If it was going the opposite way, if my diagonal was like this, that would be a Z twist. But I have an S twist, okay? And again, this is in the textbook, so you can look it up. So now I'm gonna do a little spinning demo with my cotton. This almost doesn't feel like cotton. It feels so synthetic to me. This one feels a little softer like cotton. So I'm gonna try this one, which will probably be hard. So again, I've got this little cotton ball. What I wanna do is just pull it apart ever so gently. Maybe I'll get a little end piece, okay? The cotton is a really short staple fiber, really, really short. So it wants to come apart really quickly, and you can kind of see the little slubs of cotton in here. Cotton is a lot harder to do. When we've done this in class, a lot of students really struggle. So again, I'm gonna start with a little twist, and I could wrap this on my pencil. And since I want it to be nice and even, I might need to pull, and see, look, if you almost pull it entirely apart, just try to pack it back together. Pack it back together, and then continue with your twist. The wool is definitely easy. So if you can get some wool, or again, some fiber fill, some polyester kind of fluff, it's definitely easier to do. But I've seen people do really well with the cotton too. Twist, twist. It's just really about a tight, 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 tight twist. So get yourself comfortable somewhere. Or just give yourself a nice fat yarn. I feel like maybe I'm just trying to make it too thin. I'm setting myself up for failure. I'm just kind of pulling some of this out of the way as I go. But imagine that, you know, this is my wheel. It would be slowly spinning, and what I would be doing is just feeding more of the cotton or wool roving, which is the kind of raw bit of fiber, but it's not just individual fibers, you know, it's sort of packed together a little bit. It's like a good starting off point. What they do is like comb it. They make sure it's all going in the same direction. It's all clean. It's all kind of uniform. I would be just feeding my roving. Oh, see, I lost some. But it's okay. I'm going to twist, 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 twist. And again, if this happens, I can just pick up some more and try to twist it together. See if I can just work it back in. I suppose it couldn't hurt. You could always get it a little wet. Kind of mat it together, right? If you know any tricks, like I said, you've done this in hair, feel free to incorporate any of your tricks into this and tell us about it. Tell me about it in your assignment. I'll be so excited to pass on any tricks. Like, and I'm just pulling, oh, I'm excited. Oh, I'm getting a good long piece. Twist, 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 and I'm wrapping as I go. Twist, 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 twist. Feel obligated to finish this. Definitely going to have a slubby bit right there, but I'm okay with that. It'll be hand spun yarn. Sell this on Etsy, which people do, and you can look it up. It's also where you can buy some roving if you want to do the wool roving. Obviously people that have sheep might sell the roving, and then people spin the yarn and they sell the yarn, and then you might even make it into fabric, and then you can sell the fabric, and then you could make that fabric into a garment or a home good, and you could sell that. Endless. Okay. So here's my cotton yarn. Let's pull it off and see what we get. Okay. So whereas before I had just a piece of cotton that falls apart, I obviously, oh, I've got a knot. I've obviously got a piece of yarn. This is stronger. I can still pull it apart in certain places, but some places where it's thick, it's actually really super strong. Now this is totally slubby, totally uneven, but you know, maybe that's the look you're going for. So let me measure this. I've actually got, it's about the same. It's about 17, 18 inches of cotton yarn with, let me see, my diagonal goes like this. So it's the same, it's an S twist. That just happens to be the way it feels comfortable in my hands to twist, okay? Oh, I just pulled it apart. Oh, I'll put that back together. See if I can spin that back together. There we go. So I want you to try to spin some fibers into yarn. It's going to be up to you to figure out what fibers you're going to spin. This is a previous one that I have that a student did. Look how long it is. Oh, it's so long. Oh, it just keeps coming. It's such a good job. The longest piece. This is like double what I did. See, it's like so I want you to try to spin some kind of fiber into yarn, and then tell me the type of twist and how long it is, and document it and show me. And